Hello YouTube, and welcome back to Let's Play Dungeon Defenders. In the last episode, I was having some technical difficulties, as you could tell, if you saw it. I was trying some new recording settings to see if I could record full screen rather than the way it is now where you see my taskbar, but then it made everything kind of glitchy and wigging out and stuff. And also, I forgot to hit record on the commentary for the mic, because I use one program to record the video game audio, and then the other program, sound recorder, just to record my own talking audio. Okay. Here's a better explanation, I suppose, of something. The Fireball Tower has a longer range than the Magic Missile Tower, and it's more powerful, but it attacks slower, although it does have splash damage and fire elemental damage. That means that enemies that have that fiery symbol around them won't get hurt by the fire. But if I put down a magic blockade, then if the enemies attack the magic blockade, they'll lose their elemental ability, so they won't be fire types anymore. And I put the tower, or the wall, away from the tower, so that when the explosive enemy, the kobold, blows up on the wall, then it won't hurt the Fireball Tower, or at least not as much. Now, the Fireball Tower costs 80, and then my Magic Blockade costs 20. So that means that it costs 100 to effectively use this defense. And because in this map I only started out with 200, and there's 3 entrances, that means I can only defend 2 of them. Now, I tend to put more defenses initially on the left and right, if I hold that, left and right, because as you might be able to tell, there's another door down there that isn't activated right now, like there's no one coming through it right now, but later on more enemies start coming from there and follow up here, so then the left and right need more defenses. But this one, it's just those 2 doors, or that one door if you count it by billboards. Although later on in the game, an ogre comes through there, which is that big one you saw in the last level. So that means that this pathway is going to need more defenses in the long run. And now I shall start the round. And because I only had enough mana to place those defenses, I'm going to have to manually defend this lane. And what I like about this stage, and Foundries and Forges, is that because there's 3 lanes like this, it's pretty easy to defend. And I just zoomed in with the mouse wheel. I think you can also press page up or something. The mage, or the apprentice, has this ability where if you hold left click and right click, then you just shoot that stream. If you hold right click, then you can charge up that blast for massive knockback and a little extra damage. It's good against the stronger enemies because then you can keep them away and give yourself more time to attack them. If you just hold left, then you can charge up a stronger shot that has a little bit of pierce, but the strength gets weaker the more enemies it pierces through. And then, like I said, if you hold left and right, then it just gives you that auto fire feature, which is very helpful. And because I haven't put any attributes in my strength, my hero damage, and I haven't upgraded it, or haven't picked up any extra staffs to increase my attack power, I'm not doing very much damage. So if I was going to try to last the entire level like this, tons of enemies would get by and I would die multiple times and would not be very good. So that's why it's only this first round that I'm really going to be doing this. And of course one of the goblins went that way. And now I'm just going to run around and gather all the mana. And then build the same Fireball Tower and Magic Blockade in the center. So for that, I'll just jump, cut. Okay, so now as you can see, the Fireball Tower and Magic Blockade are there. And if you look over there, there's a billboard for one orc that's going to be coming through. And there's another orc on that side. So now those side doors are going to have one extra orc to deal with, which is why they usually need the extra boosts first. And speaking of that, I'm going to add another fireball tower to the side here. And also, when you're putting the magic blockade away from the fireball tower so that the explosives don't attack the tower, you also want to make sure that you don't place the tower too far away from the blockade, because then the range might not be past that wall. So you might end up making the enemies only attack the wall and not be in the range of the fireball tower, which obviously would not be good, because then they're just going to destroy the magic blockade without actually being hurt. Now, I'm going to look at my stats. Okay, I forgot if I had actually been upgrading the defense health. If I hadn't, then that means the magic blockades would have some really low HP, but they have 1058, which is pretty good for right now because enemies don't really do that much damage. Now, looking at the equipment, this one has generic damage resistance and the electric damage resistance. Enemies with the electric ability or attribute, when they attack, they do electric damage. I don't think it's only electric damage, I think it's bonus electric damage. So if you wear this, then you get 1%, well actually not even 1%, because there's some way that, okay, did it say that they had a speed bonus? I don't remember seeing that, or maybe I pressed the wrong button or something. Anyways, so that hero speed bonus means that now I run a little bit faster, and then the lightning damage resistance is supposed to help overall, but I'm not exactly sure how that works. I know it's an average or something. So this worn gnarled stick will have 15 attack power, 2 knockback, and a 6 bonus, or plus 6 bonus to the attack speed. Not how fast I attack, but how fast the bullets fly. And plus 6 isn't that much, so probably can't really tell the difference. I can build 2 more, and because I know that an ogre is going to be coming through here, I'm just going to build 2 here. And because they cost 80, generally, I mean, it seems pretty simple, but whenever you have 160, then you know, okay, you can build 2, I guess. That's just something I tend to think about. This one has 3 extra electric damage, but it also has -1 charge time, and it does have plus 83 speed bonus. So let's just see if you can tell. I can't actually tell if that's faster or not, but I'm sure it is. And I'll pick up a helmet for extra damage resistance, and now it's 1% damage resistance, even though there's 1% there and 1% there. And I'm sure if I got like the other 2 pieces of armor, then they'd help. So yeah, that makes it even faster. And wow. Okay, I'm gonna choose this one just to see if I can tell. A little bit? No? I can't tell. Okay, so now to start the round. And normally, whenever there's 2 paths for the... Did I get everything? Yeah. Whenever there's 2 paths for the enemies to go, they usually go like half and half, 1 and 1. But on this map, for some reason, they always stay on the same lane, unless you're over there attacking them. And I guess the only reason for those lanes is for you to move around and for the chests to appear. And it's always good to try to stay near your defenses, or near where the enemies die. And what is going on? Okay, to stay near them so that you can gather the mana during the round, because there's only a maximum amount of mana that can appear on the map. They don't go away based on time, but just on how much mana is actually on the field. So if you're not collecting them, then they're going to start disappearing. And it doesn't necessarily matter on the amount of mana, but the amount of gems, if that makes sense. That you can have just hypothetically, if the limit was 100, you could have 100 blue gems, which equal 100 mana, or you could have 100 green gems, which equal 1000 mana. And either one, if you add one extra mana, then one of the previous mana is going to go away. So say you had a 50 gem somewhere, and then one little blue mana appears, and then you lose the purple gem because of the max amount. And now that I have 220, I can't pick up anymore. But you always want to make sure that you're picking up the mana so that you're not losing the mana. And also at the end of the round, when you're going around picking up mana, you should try to pick up the mana that's already on the ground before you open any chests. Because if you are at the limit, then you don't want to open the chest and get rid of a few. Obviously right now, since they're all green and blue anyways, getting 4 extra green really could only benefit you, but you're still losing a few, if that makes sense. It's only in the later rounds when purple gems start appearing that you really want to be sure you're not losing those in place of a few green gems. And now I'm just gonna keep fortifying my defenses and oh wait, I already have 3. Okay, so also, did it say the message beware the wyverns? Because now you can see on that billboard that there's another symbol, and that symbol is for the wyverns. I'm not sure if I'm saying it right, I'm sure I'm not, but they're flying enemies that go away from your defenses. They don't avoid them, they just go straight for the crystal. And since they come from that area, they don't actually come from the door, they just kind of appear in midair. But then they just fly straight here over to the crystal. And they're really annoying for some reason, because whenever I put up a defense, they're never able to destroy it properly. So I'm going to put up a fireball tower, because those are powerful, and I like them. But I know that they do have elemental attributes like all the other enemies. Not every enemy has elemental attribute, but every type of enemy can have an elemental attribute. So I know that eventually there's going to be a fire type one in there, and they won't attack the magic blockades because they only attack the towers that attack them. So I'm going to need to put up some magic missile towers to fight against the fire types. And, adding more tires never really... did I say tires? Adding more towers never really hurts your defenses. Unless you're at the top of your defense units and you're putting in a magic tower when you needed a magic blockade or something. But for right now, since I've still got 67 out of 90, I can place a few magic missile towers. I always have to check the map to see where the chests are. Okay, so here there's Worn Lucky Chain Coat and Cursed Unlucky Mail Shirt, which, they sound similar, I guess. They're just both made of metal. This one gives you 1 generic defense and -1 poison defense. This one is 1 generic defense and 1 electric defense resistance. This one is made of chain, or chain mail, and this is just regular mail. That doesn't necessarily make a difference, except that when you have, a mail helmet and a leather boots, or sabatons, if you have a helmet, chest, boots, and gloves of the same type, like all mail or all leather or all chain, then you get a bonus to all those stats. But because I don't have, I'm not completing a set with this, I'm going to give it to this one, or I'm going to pick up this one because it has more positive attributes rather than negative ones. And if I later find some more mail items or another leather item, then I'm just going to try to get all of the same type so I can get that bonus. But as of right now, since I don't really wear equipment very much, it doesn't make a difference. And all equipment that you pick up, it carries through when you go to the next level and everything. You don't have to find new equipment every level. You just have to rebuild defenses, because you can't really take your defenses with you. They just get kind of stuck there, even though you could sell them. But that's not the point. And in case you didn't notice, that little gray and red symbol is for the kobold. the explosive enemies. So I'm actually gonna, yeah, I'm gonna put another fireball tower here because again I know the ogre's coming on the last wave, so I'm just gonna make sure I'm ready. I like standing up here, getting that nice little overview, and that's the wyvern. I can't see its health from this far. 544. So yeah, neither of those were fire types, so I didn't really need the magic missiles because you could see how easily the fireball tower totally destroyed it. That's a poison type, and yeah, fireball tower doing 581 damage. That's awesome. And you know, at this point in the game, 581 damage by the end of the game is nothing. See, he's a fire type, so let's watch him. Well, let's stay back away from the enemies, because you also get a multiplier bonus for not being hurt. So far I'm doing good, like this round. See, and now there's the kobold, and that only hurts the magic blockade because I'm far enough away. And I'm just repairing the magic blockade because even if it wasn't at that low a health, I don't want to just think, oh well, it doesn't need it right now, and then it's going to end up needing repairs, and it's going to take forever for me to repair it. So it's also another good thing to do when you're just in combat phase, is just go around repairing defenses that need repairing. But obviously if you don't stand in front of the blockade where the enemies can get you, just stand behind it. And I think I already mentioned this, you do build slower and repair slower when you're in combat phase, because you can tell this is a lot slower than when I was in build phase. And I didn't really talk about build phase and combat phase very much, but they're kind of self-explanatory. Build phase is where you build stuff, combat phase is where you combat stuff, the enemies of course, not your towers that you just built, because I said stuff for both of them. But anyways, now last time there was only 2 from each side, now there's 4 from each side, which means that 1 will come at first and then 3 will come at once on both sides. So that's why it's good to have multiple towers, so that you know you're doing damage to all of them at once. It's not just 1 at a time for 4, which doesn't sound like it would make much of a difference, but it makes a big difference. Regular leather gloves, and wow, 162. Nah, I still can't tell. Maybe I'm wrong, like maybe that's not how it works. Pretty sure that is how it works though. The speed bonus is the speed of the projectiles, not necessarily your rate of fire. And what does this one say? Oh, well, it's only for level 12. And I'm not there yet, but it does increase your defense stats, so hopefully I get another one like that. Oh look, here's one that I'll get, because, and look, 404. Hopefully I can tell that a little bit. Kind of. I can kind of tell. But also when I picked it up, you noticed all that HP looked like it was missing. But that's just because it increased the maximum HP and did not increase the current HP, so it made it seem like it was hurt. And gotta repair all these. This is why it's helpful to increase the HP at the beginning of the match when you haven't built everything. But obviously if there's a way to increase the max HP, you should pretty much always do it, unless it's at the cost of something else, like increase your tower HP by 5 and decrease your attack by 20 or something. That would be unreasonable. And I feel like my defense is already good enough as they are, but because I can still gather more mana, and because you can never be too careful with an ogre, and even though it's the next round, not this round, and I already have full, so I didn't need to pick those up. Gonna place these. Actually, I barely have any more defense units. Let's see. Okay, that was it. So now I can just start upgrading instead of building. And I should get a bonus for having full defense units, which is always something you should try to strive for. But if you really feel like your defenses are sufficient, though in the build that they are, like if there's no more types of towers you want, you just need more attack power on them or something, then by all means just start upgrading rather than building more needless defenses. Okay, and now I'm ready. See, just one at first, and that one's electric type. Let's see here. Yeah, that's always fun. Just to watch towers destroy. And then now 3 at a time. And, oh, okay, that one's fire type. So that one's gonna need the magic magic missile towers. Because not only will the fire not attack them, but it won't hurt them, even in splash damage. So you can't just think like, oh, well, there's a big crowd. If one of them is fire type, the splash damage will hurt them. Because, no, it won't even hurt them, and it won't even attack them. It'll only attack enemies near them, and again, still not hurt them. I really need to not get near the dark elf archers because like I said in a previous episode, the first episode, the archers will attack you before they attack the defenses. Also the dark elf mages and dark elf warriors. It basically just the dark elves that attack you rather than the defenses. And also the other enemies will attack you if you get near them, but their main priority is the defenses. If you start doing more damage to them, I think the term is called to aggro them away, or something like that. Okay, now this is kind of interesting. These two hand gloves give you 1% generic damage resistance, but the game is saying that this one is better because it has more potential. You can upgrade it to level 11 rather than level 6, the one that I currently have. Now, because I don't use upgrades, that information is useless to me. I don't care if it can upgrade to a larger level if I'm not going to upgrade it. So whenever I see something like that, it slightly frustrates me because it's saying that something's better when in my context it isn't. And usually means that I try to run into the midst of danger to go look at it, and it ends up not being worth it. Now this is good because that's 3% fire and 1% electric, which obviously is better than none. And again, I feel like my defenses are sufficient, but I'm still just gonna repair a little and upgrade. And look, level up. Okay, so they're all there. Again, I don't want to upgrade my health right in the middle of it, but I will anyways. And now I've got to go on a little repair spree, and I'll just cut that out with a jump cut. Okay, so something else interesting is that now, you might have noticed on the last video, but the goblins are orange, which means that they're at a higher attack level, or just a higher level, I guess. Because now that it's the final round, and it might have happened last round and I just didn't notice, now the enemies are going to be a little bit stronger, just because you're progressing in the game and the game wants to challenge you more. So now the goblins, they do get a lot more health, and I think they get more damage, and I'm pretty sure extra movement speed, which is very helpful for them because then they have a better chance of avoiding my towers because the fireballs do move kind of slow. Alright, so now that I've upgraded everything by 100 mana. To get to their level 2, I have to use 200 mana. Obviously it costs more. I'm pretty sure it increases it by a larger percent. Like if the first upgrade upgraded their health by 100, then the second one would upgrade it by 200, I think, but I'm not entirely sure. I never actually looked into that. And those kobolds can get a bit annoying because they do a lot of damage to walls. But as long as you've got good enough health and your towers are far enough away. And oh look, wyverns. And yeah, see, that one's not being attacked by the fireball tower, so it has to be attacked by the magic missile tower. And I'm just gonna, yeah, I was gonna try to help, but it already got attacked by the magic missile tower because it flew in front of it. And if those magic missile towers weren't there, then I'd have to fight them all on my own, and I've tried that on another character and it did not work well. Another fire type there, and not a fire type there. I'm just going to attack it now, weaken it a little bit, make it a little easier for the magic missile towers to defeat it. And I think the ogre should be coming soon, because it's getting near the end. And look, an ogre has arrived. And something I was asking on my last video, but again the recording cut out, or didn't record, I guess. Since the ogre is a cyclops, pretty sure it's always a cyclops, does that mean it has a unibrow? Like, does it still count as a unibrow if it's only one eye, or is it considered an eyebrow even though it's only one? Just a random thought. And look, a purple gem for 50 mana. And normally the ogres are pretty strong, but considering I have 7 fireball towers that do about 963 damage, yeah, it has a couple thousand HP, but not that much. And let's see, I think I'm gonna go with making it a leather armor, and that I think I'll explain in a minute. Wow, that's a lot of defense, but I'm gonna stick with movement speed. So yeah, now there's 3. Just trying to keep things all even, I guess. Where was it? The gloves? Yeah. This is overcharge bonus, which I don't think I talked about this. The overcharge ability makes you summon or build and repair and upgrade faster for a limited amount of time. Well, not actually a limited amount of time, for a limited amount of mana, because it's kind of like a overtime buff, I think is how you would describe it. It makes you summon things faster, but it costs 8 mana per second, I think. And when you put more skill points into it, I think it increases the speed at which you upgrade and decreases the mana that it costs per second, I think. The other ability here is the mana bomb, which you get at level 20, which basically just unleashes a giant attack on everything around you. I'm just going to look at all this armor, see if there's anything good. Obviously this is the end of the episode because I finished the level, and because I never use overcharge, and because this one gives me movement speed, which is very helpful, I'm going to switch it out. I'm not really sure how much you can tell after 6 points, but I do move a little faster, and I really can't even tell, but just going to keep it anyways. And I wish there was a leather body armor so that I could probably get the bonus. Nope. Alright, well, that's it for this episode. Next episode will be the first boss of the game, which will be very interesting because, you know, it's a boss. I'm just gonna check to see one more chest, if there's a leather chest guard thing, and I can show you the bonus or what it looks like. And no. Alright, that's it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.